So here the start of the race. I'm tucked in way behind. As expected, everyone went out so hard. And here is a video of me and Sylvia. Believe it or not, I was behind her for the first 2 miles right before this hill, and then made my money moves. Running uphill at this point was like a wake up to the legs after doing the VK. So I was going based off of feel and trying not to push too hard, and I knew Sylvia was gonna react, so I didn't want to waste too much energy at this point. We're about to enter the trail. But yeah, I was just trying to stay really controlled and calm, knowing that in this race with her, what I did at the beginning of the race was gonna either really work for me at the end or really kind of derail my race. So now we hit the single track, and this was very rocky, so yeah, just trying not to trip. Yeah, still feeling good at this point. I feel like the legs were, they were good. They found a rhythm, and I knew that one of my stronger talents is being good at continuous uphill grinds. And it was all about finding an effort that I felt like I could sustain for a long duration of time. So yeah, he was feeling really good. Still trying to be smart, because this is not even 5 miles into the race. Using my power hiking moves. Try not to use too much energy. So yeah, I will say it was kind of fun to have another woman next to me, because I do feel like I race really well when I have competition, and I am aware that I have to keep pressing the pedal, and I can't relax, but keep my focus on the race. So yeah, climbing still feeling really good at this point. Actually, climbing kind of felt really good pretty much the entire race, so that was a good sign. You never know how your legs are going to feel after a VK, but mine seemed to feel pretty good this day. So all right, so you can see on the right that I'm coming down, and this is part of like the really, really long downhill into the first aid station. And I had dropped Sylvia on that huge climb. I think we gained about 3,000 feet on that first climb, and at some point I looked back and had, wrong turn. The camera guy told me about that wrong turn, so I was really grateful for him. So I didn't see that because I was reaching into my pocket for a gel and just kind of like forgot to look up, and that's how I ended up taking that small little wrong turn and missed it. But it wasn't like I was just running blind. I was focusing on trying to get my gel out, so that kind of paid for it. But yeah, going back to it, I at some point looked back down and didn't see Sylvia on the huge first climb. And so, but at that point I was like, I don't have to worry about it. I still feel good. So, all right. So this is after finishing that first downhill and heading into Tunte. They didn't catch me going through the first aid station, but they did catch me going into the second aid station. And I did not intentionally not grab any nutrition. I was expecting to see Esther there, but apparently she got caught in a traffic jam, and the police like were not letting people through for some reason, so she was unable to be there. So yeah, this aid station I left with water, and I didn't grab any gels because Esther had them. So I just told myself, I feel really well for that first half. This was, like about 14 miles into the race. And I just told myself, you've been feeling really well. You still feel really good. Just get to the next aid station and everything will work out. So that's kind of what I did. So this is me after that, basically the last really technical downhill where I absolutely bombed it. Because leaving Tunte, I knew that the second and third girl had caught up sometime on that first big downhill, but my thing was I was trying to conserve a little bit of energy and conserve my quads, because I knew that big downhill, like, people can really send it and then destroy their legs for like the last two big climbs. And so I knew that this was like the last big downhill heading into this last aid station, and so I just absolutely sent it. And yeah, Guares, I think that's the last aid station. Well, the last calorie aid station. I was so grateful for this aid station. I was so ready for some nutrition, some calories, since I hadn't gotten anything at Tunte. So I filled up a flask of Pepsi, chugged that, and filled my flask again, and then took it with me, and then the other one with water. So I left pretty jazzed, full of Pepsi, for that last big climb. And at this point, like, drinking that Pepsi like revived me. Like, I would say I was definitely ready. Like, my body was definitely like, hey, like, our glucose stores are very, very low. And then just chugging that Pepsi and then bringing some with me was like a lifesaver for that last climb and even through the finish. So here I am running up, and looking over to see if I could see Sylvia, because at that point I had no idea how much time I'd made up on her. Leaving Tunte up on that like continuous hill, and then bombing that last downhill into Ayaguares. So yeah, I kept looking back because I had no idea. I knew she had been close at Tunte. So and I was like pushing. I will say I was pushing at this point, trying to make as much room between me and her. I was feeling good on this climb. And then I will say that climb felt like forever, and you're so exposed. This was the time, around the time in the race where I actually started to get pretty hot. But I knew I had about, 10K to go to the finish. So just told myself to suck it up, and I was still feeling good. It was just, the heat wasn't like terrible, but I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel hot. So yeah, just enjoying the downhill, I was trying to use that guy for a little bit to like keep me on pace. I think sometimes it's so easy to like ease off the gas when you're by yourself. So I try to keep up with that guy for as long as possible. There was a couple times where I thought about passing him, and then I was like, no, like, serve some energy for like the dry riverbed. So there I like eased off the pedal a little bit, because we were running, like 6:15 there for a second. So yeah, I knew the dry riverbed was coming. They didn't get much of me running on the actual like rocks, but so this is me leaving the dry riverbed, and I knew I was close. I was so ready to be done. There was a water aid station tucked in, with like 3 miles to go to the finish, and I did grab some more water, and I had some water dump on my head. They didn't catch that on video, but that really, really was amazing, for like a little turbo boost to the finish. And so here's me knowing I was close. I did a couple times glance back just to make sure, Sylvia wasn't close. And I would check my watch a couple times on this road to make sure that I was moving, and not, easing off the pedal. So yeah, here's me near the end. And I was full on sending it at this point, like just using my arms and trying to just sprint to the finish. I had no idea, honestly, at this point that I was about to go sub 4. I just knew that I wanted to finish really strong, keep to the pace, So, yeah, I was so hot and ready to be done. That finish feels like forever because you kind of wind. So it's a little further than you think the finish is, but once you enter that and turn that corner, it's like such an amazing feeling because there's so many people cheering you on, and yeah, just momentum. So yeah, at this point of the race, I was just so happy to be done. I was very hot, really thirsty. I will say that last like 5 miles of the race, I was very hot. It felt like I went into an oven. So yeah, here's me being happy, finishing, and just really stoked to defend the title, go sub 4, and feel really, really strong the entire way. So yeah, good stuff. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment.